Maine, Maplewood Avenue, in Ocean Township, right next to Elbron.
Josh, can you raise it just a tad, please? Thank you.
Better. I was asked to come here tonight about the internet thing, but before I do that, I noticed we were talking about the school a little bit. Something that I recently learned was school start times can have a huge influence on student performance, especially in the case of teenagers. And there's a lot of new evidence out there that says that teenagers should start the latest and not the earliest, which is usually the case in most schools throughout the country. The reason for this is that their bodies release melatonin about 2 hours later than most children and adults, because they're going through a lot of changes in their physiology during those years. So their body kind of responds in that way. The way that it was explained to me was, imagine like you had to wake up at 4 in the morning, you're like a zombie, you know, you can't think, you can't focus. Now ask a teenager to wake up at 6, it's almost the same exact thing. So no wonder they're irritable and, you know, have trouble focusing in school. And a lot of the problems we attributed to them being teenagers could actually be mostly solved with having a later start time. And it can also reduce anxiety, depression, a lot of like mental health issues that really come about in those teenage years that could potentially be avoided by a later start time. So that's something to consider. As far as the internet thing, I wanted to commend the mayor and the council. They've been very responsive. I've been talking to John, regularly, and he's called me, and he's reached out, on his own when he has questions. There are some update, there's a lot of confusing terminology because it's technology and not a lot of people understand it. But if there's anyone here, as a show of hands, who supports the idea and kind of, okay, so quite a few. I just wanted to, kind of go through what I found out. So the original number that I gave you of 22 million was way overestimated. After talking to people in the industry and coming up with a more realistic number that's closer to about $7 million. What that means for the city is that the system could essentially pay for itself in another 3 years. And I gave something to John that explained everything, and I'd love to go into more detail, but I don't have a lot of time. So if any of you have any questions about it, you can see me afterwards. There's a lot of terminology about speed and pricing and stuff. One thing to note is that you have to look at a couple of things. You have to look at your download speed, which is how fast you can receive, and upload speed, which is how fast you can send. So from the cable company, they'll say, oh, we'll give you, 100 download, but if you look at the actual fine print, it'll say, oh, we'll only give you 20 upload. And it's just the technology of the cable system that dictates how they can make those offers. With the fiber optics, you can send basically as fast as you receive. So if you're uploading a picture or sending something to your children, grandchildren, friends, those things will happen just as fast as you get them. So that's an important point to mention. Another important point is that most likely, based on very, very, very early estimates, this is not a promise or a guarantee of any kind, is that we'd be able to offer a special option for people who can't afford the internet generally because of its high cost, for a $10 a month option for 25 megabits. Just to give you an idea, 25 is enough for 2 people to watch Netflix in high definition, or 1 person to watch in ultra high def, which is the 4K new stuff. So that's just a little, point of comparison. I believe Comcast does offer something for $10 a month, but you have to prove that you're in need and on public assistance and all that stuff, and it's only a 15 megabit plan, so it would beat that out. Any other questions from anybody? Okay. Thank you.